Newly appointed District Attorney Nathan Vasquez has announced a strict zero-tolerance policy targeting criminal activities during protests, marking a significant shift from the approach of his predecessor, Mike Schmidt. Vasquez's firm stance was articulated during a press conference addressing the aftermath of Tuesday night's violent Antifa direct action.
First and foremost, I want to start off and just say how much I appreciate Portland Police and Oregon State Police taking swift action last night. They've been keeping me very apprised and briefed as events have unfolded, and the cooperation is just ongoing and it's very intense, and I really appreciate that. And what I've seen is that we are at a place where certainly many of us may not agree with what's happening nationally, and we want our local folks to be able to demonstrate, want to be able to exercise their First Amendment rights, but that is totally different than going out and engaging in violence or in vandalism. And there is no tolerance for that. And so, whether you are on the left, the right, the center, it does not matter. If you break the law, I'm going to seek to hold you accountable. And that's the end of the story, really. But day in, day out, this office is going to be working closely with law enforcement and making sure that our city remains the beautiful, wonderful place that it is, that people have the right to speak their mind and to do and have this beautiful city in a way that we can all enjoy.
Make fun of your then boss, Mike Schmidt, announced that he wasn't going to prosecute most protesters arrested at these demonstrations. That you were there when that policy was announced. Here's your photo. So I'm wondering, what's changed? What's the difference between you and Mr. Schmidt? Clearly, you're sending a different message. How are you shaking things up? Or do you last boss?
Well, if you remember, I was there to talk about what was going to be prosecuted. And I'm here today to say there is not a policy in place in my office to prohibit us from prosecuting any crimes. The difference is very clear. We work very closely with Portland Police and with Oregon State Police and I'll say it again, left, right, or center, if people break the law, they're going to be held accountable.
Why are you making this break with the policy of Mr. Schmidt?
Because I don't think it served this community. And I don't think it served the individuals that were actually out trying to get their message out. I think when you have and you allow criminal behavior, it detracts from people's ability to exercise free speech. And when we see that is allowed to get out of control, our city suffers. We see windows smashed, we see fires set, we see out of control graffiti. And overall, this is an amazingly beautiful city. And every day we have wonderful protests. But when we allow that criminal behavior, it detracts from that and it detracts from our city. And so I've been very clear that we're going to take a very different approach and we're going to be very involved and we're going to hold people accountable. Thank you.
If you break the law, I'm going to seek to hold you accountable. End of story. Vasquez stated, emphasizing his commitment to public safety while upholding the right to peaceful protest. Praising the swift actions of the Portland Police and Oregon State Police, Vasquez highlighted their efforts in managing the recent unrest. They've been keeping me very apprised and briefed as events have unfolded, and the cooperation is just ongoing and very intense. He said, this policy departure contrasts with Schmidt's decision to avoid prosecuting many protesters arrested during demonstrations. Vasquez made it clear that under his leadership, the DA's office would not implement any policies restricting the prosecution of crimes. Whether you are on the left, the right, or the center, it does not matter. If you break the law, I'm going to seek to hold you accountable, he reiterated. When asked about his departure from Schmidt's leniency, Vasquez explained, I don't think it served this community, nor the individuals trying to get their message out. Allowing criminal behavior detracts from free speech and harms the city. He cited vandalism, fires, and graffiti as examples of how unchecked criminal acts have impacted Portland. He also expressed his commitment to preserving the city's beauty and livability. Every day, we have wonderful protests. But when criminal behavior is allowed, it detracts from that and from our city, Vasquez stated. This pivot in policy has garnered attention from residents and political commentators alike. Many view Vasquez's approach as a return to law and order, applauding his commitment to accountability and public safety. Critics of the previous policies argue that Schmidt's leniency contributed to a perception of lawlessness, with businesses and residents bearing the brunt of the damage during protests. Supporters of Vasquez's policy believe it will help restore confidence in local governance while protecting the city's reputation as a hub for peaceful demonstrations. The policy shift also raises questions about its potential impact on future protests, the balance between civil liberties and public safety, and its broader implications for Portland's political climate. As Vasquez's tenure unfolds, his no tolerance stance will likely shape how Portland navigates its dual commitments to free speech and order.